So as you can see, our backyard has basically turned into a pond over the last few weeks, and this area was actually fenced in and is pretty massive compared to what it looks like. It was fenced in for my mom's dogs so she would be able to let them out and they could play and have a good time but be safe in the bounds of our yard. However, as you can tell, there is a lot of water in this area, so much in fact that the grass has overgrown and it's just not a good area for the dogs, especially the two younger puppies, to be in. There's a lot of ants that have come back here, and so since I couldn't mow, I went ahead and let my geese out in this area this morning. Now that breeding season's over, they were actually really sweet and gentle and just let me pick them up and move them. The hen, she was a little nervous, but the gander, that's our male goose, he just let me pick him right up and bring him over here, and neither one of them bit me. They were really gentle about it. All morning they've just been wandering around and biting the grass down. You can kind of see the grass behind her where some of it's really tall and some of it's quite a bit shorter up front, and that's how they've slowly nipped it down. Geese can forage a good majority of their food, and them doing so is really great because it cuts back on feed costs, but is also pretty healthy for them, and it allows us to raise, if we wanted to raise birds that we could use for meat and process without having to spend a lot of money on feed or worry about what is in the feed source that we're using. And that's really nice, especially when you don't have the money to just dump into feeding your birds 24/7. It gets expensive, and if you're in an urban or suburban area, it can really limit exactly what you can do on your property. So it's nice to have an option where I can just use grass that's already growing, or maybe seed rye or other grass that works well for different birds, and allow them to eat that, and then if it gets out of hand, I can just mow it. Obviously the yard is already kind of out of hand, as you can see. Now all of the mulch behind these two, that is mulch that we brought in from Chip Drop. I paid $20 for a giant truckload. I used it to raise up this backyard quite a bit, and then the rain came through, as you can see, and so what you can't tell is that in the area they're in, it's about an 18-inch to 2-foot drop in some areas from where the house sits. So it really is a pretty good difference, and they have a pretty good pond area because of that. So for me, as you can see, this is all the water surrounding this area, and it was just a good idea to go ahead and let them back there. I don't have to worry about mowing or it not drying out when the sun finally does come out because the grass is too high, and it also provides an excellent source of food for all of these guys. And by all of these guys, I mean my 3 ducks also, who I tried to catch to put in here so they could take advantage of the water and hide in the grass. I have 2 khaki Campbell hens and a khaki Campbell Drake that would love this area, but they were really skittish and they are still not really used to me trying to catch them or pick them up. So that's gonna be a job for tomorrow. I figured after I take my daughter to school, I can come back and try to catch them and have time for a shower. I'm just not in the mood today to worry about chasing them around in a muddy coop. That is no fun, no matter how much we have laid down mulch or anything else in that coop. 3 weeks of non-stop rain almost really kind of puts a damper on things and makes it a nasty mess. So it has not been very fun around here because of that. However, I'm really hoping that it dries out so we can get some more stuff done. It is definitely pretty sloshy here. Here's just a minor example of some of the stuff that's happening. You can see we've lost some trees. There's more up front. Definitely a lot of growth has happened over the last couple of weeks. All of this is just out of control. There's water standing everywhere. And it doesn't look so bad until you walk in and realize that it's calf deep in a lot of areas. It runs all between the coop, all over the entire backyard. There is a ton of water here. And here is my hen. It's a pretty good example, sitting here eating the grass, not worrying at all about what I'm doing, and just kind of picking it off. And that's what the two of these do. And they eat all sorts of leafy greens, so any kind of shrubbery around the yard they often eat, which is really nice. They're not quite as messy as ducks, which is surprising because they're so much larger, but I find that they're actually not as crazy as the khaki Campbell ducks. Seem to be a lot more flighty and nervous and kind of trample over everything, where the geese really just kind of leisurely stroll around, eat what they want, and they don't really bother me if I don't bother them. Now that breeding season's over, they've been fairly quiet. I'm pretty impressed with how quiet and easygoing they are. That's something I worry about. We don't keep roosters because they are loud, and also because we've just had some not so great luck, I guess you can say, with them being aggressive towards the smaller children. And since our kids help out a lot with the garden and animals, we really want it to be safe for them to be outside. And you can see my gander here is even eating the grass seeds from the top. He can just stretch out really tall. Or is this my hen? This is the girl. The gander's way in the back over there. It's hard to tell sometimes with this breed because they're the same color. It's just a matter of who stretched out taller. It's a lot easier to tell when they're really close together. You can see her just kind of eating the grass seeds off of everything. Having a good old time. And yes, I'm filming through the fence, as you can tell when I back up, because it's just so much easier that way. I don't want to be in the sloshy mud or disturbing them too much. Keeping a safe distance makes them feel just a little bit more comfortable, and like I'm not trying to chase them around. But you can definitely see a better idea of what this area looks like based off of how I'm holding the phone. And then if I kind of turn this way, you can see there's all this grass. The bottom of the house is fenced in. Recently we did that so the dogs can get under, but it works out for the birds so they can't get under. So they have a pretty massive area. I'm pretty sure this backyard area is double the size, maybe triple the house area. It is just absolutely insane. So they have so much room to run around, and we have enough room where we can close in and make 2 more paddock areas in the backyard. Now, mind you, we're on less than 3/4 of an acre, but the way that we set things up and rotate the animals really allows us to do so much more. And also we try to be mindful of not packing in too many animals for the space that we have, which is kind of why you'll notice that we have poultry, and that's pretty much all we have right now. We've had rabbits in the past, we've had a pig or 2 here, and it was a bit of a mess. I just wasn't prepared for that. My kids kind of want to get into rabbits. There's one time when we were really big into showing rabbits. I'm just a little tired right now, and if the kids aren't hyper motivated to be in 4-H, I'm not going to force them into it. I want them to enjoy their extracurricular activities, and they seem to be leaning more towards sports as they get older. So we'll see what happens. We may get into rabbits, but we definitely need to build up the yard, because I'd really like to have rabbit tractors or something where the rabbits can actually forage the grass and get out more. I don't like them being in cages and getting a lot of sores or any of that. And we've tried some different things in the past for rabbits, putting bedding down, grasses, hay, and it's still quite a bit of maintenance in my opinion. So it's easier just to throw some geese, ducks, and chickens out, let them eat all the grass, insects, till up the yard for us, and then move them into new area and turn the old area into garden, which is kind of what I did with the okra patch. I've shown that in the last couple weeks. It's a bit of a mess with the rain, but essentially we let the birds in there and they completely cleared out the area, and then I used it to plant okra that are doing really well. And so that's probably what I'm going to continue doing in every garden section of this yard, just to ensure that, you know, we're making the best of everything, and the animals and the garden and us are all trying to work together the best that we can. It's going to be a little tricky because I'm back to working, going to school full time, all of that. So it's just definitely going to be a lot busier year, but I'm excited to show that, hey, with as busy and crazy as our family life gets, if we can come out here and make this work, then I feel like a lot of people could probably, you know, work and homestead at least on a small scale. Now, I can't spend 16 hours a day outside clearing out grass and cleaning up around the garden. That's just absolutely exhausting. There's no way with our lifestyle and how busy we are that would work. So that's just not an approach that I take. There was a time where I spent a ridiculous amount of hours doing all that, and it just physically exhausted me. It made me feel really sick. So that's just not something that I want to do. I'm hoping that continuing to rotate our poultry and whatever livestock that we choose to raise in the future like this will make a big difference in the amount of work that we have to do. You can look how curious they are, trying to figure out what we're doing. And you know, this is really awesome. I'm really excited to see how well they're doing and they continue to show things off. So in a couple of days, when this area is mowed down pretty well, heck, it may even be a week or two, I'll kind of do a video showing just what it looks like after they come in and clip down the grass and eat it. But you can see they are just perfectly happy grazing this area and doing their own thing.